Hello everyone. So this is the summary and explanation of the poem Tinton Abbey written by William Wordsworth. Let's move on to the important points about this poem. First is the full title of this poem is Lines Written a Few Miles Above Tinton Abbey. On revisiting the banks of Wye River during a tour July 13, 1798. So Wordsworth wrote this poem when he was traveling from Tinton to Bristol. So this poem was written by Wordsworth in 1798 and got published in the same year in Preface to Lyrical Ballads, which was a joint venture between Wordsworth and Coleridge. This poem was written when the poet visited the River Wye for the second time and he was in the company of his sister Dorothy too. So he visited Wye River in 1793 and this is his second visit, and during his second visit he has his sister too with him. This poem is a tribute to Dorothy, his sister. The poem is written in a decasyllabic blank verse, and in this poem, Wordsworth talks about the three stages of his attitude to nature. And this poem also has elements of dramatic monologue. Now, come to the text of the poem. So Wordsworth starts the poem by saying that 5 years have passed since he visited this place and now he has again come here. So now he says that 5 years have passed, 5 summers have passed, long winters have passed, and once again he is here, witnessing the beautiful landscape near the Wye River. And again I hear the water rolling from the mountain springs, creating a soft beautiful sound. Okay, the water which is rolling down from the mountain springs is creating a beautiful and low sound. Once again do I behold means see. Once again he is seeing these high and inclined mountain peaks. Cliff is mountain peaks that on a wild secluded scene impress thoughts of more deep seclusion. Now he says he's alone in the company of nature and nature looks very beautiful to him in its isolated state. Okay, he's alone in the company of nature and this entire scene is impressing him. Okay, and connect the landscape with the quiet of the sky. And now he says these mountains, okay, these mountains are connecting the land with the calmness of the sky. Okay, so he continues his description of this beautiful landscape. Now he says the day has come when again I repose. Repose means rest. So now he says that the day has come when once again he is going to have rest under the sycamore tree. And this sycamore tree is dark because of its density. And view these plots of cottage ground. Now he is looking at the greenery around the cottages. Okay, in the gardens around the cottages, and then he looks at the fruit trees in the orchards. Tufts of fruit trees in the orchards, which at this season with their unripe fruits. Okay, so these fruits are unripe, and these fruits also look green in color. Hue means color. So these fruits, are look like the leaves because the leaves of the tree and the fruits of the tree are green in color. Okay, are green in color because these fruits are unripe, and these fruits are hidden behind the groves and the woods. Okay, once again I see these hedgerows. Hedgerows, what is hedgerow? Hedgerows is the closely planted trees in order to protect the fields, but these hedgerows are hardly hedgerows because these are small, and these hedgerows have grown wildly. Okay, not planted deliberately to protect the tree but have grown wildly, so it is not serving its purpose of protecting the field. These pastoral farms green to the very door. Now he is looking at the rural farms which look green, and wreaths of smoke. Now he looks at the curls of smoke coming out from the trees, and now he's guessing from where this smoke is coming. He says that maybe this smoke is created by the roaming dwellers. Okay, roaming people who have come here in the woods, who don't have house. Okay, or this smoke is coming from hermit's cave. Okay, who is sitting, who is sitting by the side of his fire. Okay, So he's just guessing. He's talking about the possibility that from where this smoke is coming. Okay. Now he says these beauteous these beauteous forms. What are these beauteous forms? These beauteous forms are the objects of nature, beautiful objects of nature, which he is witnessing right now through a long absence. Obviously, he is not able. He is not. He has not been able to see this beautiful scenery. You know, since a long time. That's why this beautiful scene was absent from his view for a long time. Have not been to me as is a landscape to a blind man's eye. The way a blind man cannot see a beautiful scenery, similarly he was not able to see this beautiful landscape. Come to the next lines. Now he's talking about his city life. So basically, this is very important to know, because in romantic poems we see a kind of contrast between city life and countryside, where countryside is always idealized and city life is criticized. Okay. So similarly the same thing is here, but often in lonely rooms. Now he's talking about the impact of nature upon him when he is in city. Now he says, but often in lonely rooms and amid the din of towns and cities, amid the noise. Din is noise of towns and cities. When he was in city, I have owed to them in hours of weariness sensation sweet. So when he felt exhausted, with the hustle and bustle of his life, okay, busy life, then he felt sweet sensations in his blood and in his heart, because when he remembers that his time spent in the company of nature, it fills his heart with a lot of inspiration and joy and energy. So that's why he says he feels a sweet sensation in blood, in heart, and his pure mind, with a tranquil restoration, and his mind is restored to peace. Tranquil means peace. So his mind is restored to peace whenever he remembers his time spent in the company of nature. Feelings too of unremembered pleasure. So this is the feeling of the unremembered pleasure by a man who has done good acts to others. Similarly, the way a good man doesn't remember his acts of goodness done to other. Okay. Similarly, he is not able to remember that pleasure. Okay. And his connection with nature makes him a better human being. Okay, makes him a better human being. Come to the next lines. Now says, "Nor less I trust to them I may have owed another gift." Now he says that he has got another gift from nature, okay, which is more noble. Sublime is which is more noble. That blessed mood. Now he has acquired a kind of blessed mood in which the burden of the mystery of this world, in which the heavy and exhausting weight of this unintelligible world. What do you understand by the term unintelligible? Unintelligible, which he cannot understand. Okay, which is not easy to understand. So that's why he says this world which is not easy to understand, the heavy and exhausting weight of this unintelligible world gets lightened. Okay. And that serene and blessed, and he gets a kind of calm and blessed mood in which he feels, you know he has feelings of love and sympathy, okay, in which the affections gently lead us on. So he has the feelings of love and sympathy when he reaches to this blessed mood which he acquires through nature. So basically he's talking about the healing effect of nature upon him, even though he's exhausted in the city life. And when he remembers these beautiful moments spent in the company of nature, he feels blessed and motivated. Now come to the next lines. Now poet says, until the breath of this corporeal frame and even the motion of our human bloods almost suspended. So when he remembers, okay, through his memory, the beautiful time spent in the company of nature, he feels numb. Okay, he doesn't feel any blood flowing in his body. Okay, and he reaches to a trance-like state. He reaches to a kind of meditative state when his soul becomes one with nature. He's talking about his spiritual connection with nature. Okay, and he says that his soul becomes one with nature, and he forgets all the burden, all the suffering and misery of this world. Okay, he forgets everything, and he becomes one with soul. Okay, he becomes one with nature. His soul becomes one with nature. So he's talking about spiritual connection with nature. While with an eye made quiet by the power of harmony and the deep power of joy, we see into life of things. And with this blessed mood which he has acquired from nature, you know, teaches him to be to live a harmonious life, to live a life full of harmony. Harmony is peace, and he feels the power of joy, and he is able to see the reality of life. We see into life of things, he is able to see the reality of life. Okay, he is able to better understand the situations. Come to the next lines. If this but be but a vain belief, yet oh how often in darkness and amid the many shapes of joyless daylight. Now again he's talking about his city life, when he is in city, and when he has spent days without any joy. Okay, and when he has this kind of feeling which doesn't make him happy, he feels exhausted. Okay, he doesn't feel happy in that state, when fever of the world, the things which are going in the world, okay, the suffering and the misery of people, you know, weigh upon his mind, weigh upon the beatings of his heart. Okay, weighing upon his heart and mind. How often in spirit have I turned to this? So when he is in such a state of disappointment, then he turns his attention to nature. Okay, and to this beautiful scene that he spent, that the time which he's spending in the company of nature. Okay, he remembers this time and he feels good. Okay, oh Sylvan, why? Again, he's now addressing the river, that oh Sylvan, why thou wander through the woods? You are wandering through the woods. Okay, how often has my spirit turned to this? So his soul has turned to this river for inspiration and motivation, and for the restoration of peace to his mind. Okay, so whenever he remembers, you know, this beautiful scene is full of energy, enthusiasm, motivation, and joy. Okay, come to the next lines. And now, with gleams of half extinguished thought, with many recognitions dim and faint. Obviously, now he doesn't remember, or he doesn't remember everything from his previous visit, and he's somehow confused because he has lost the kind of enthusiasm, the energy which he had in 1793 on his previous visit. Although he seems to be confused here, but he's able to revive the picture again, although he had forgotten, you know you know a good amount of memory from his previous visit. But again, this picture is revived again in his mind because he is present now. While here I stand not only with the sense of present pleasure, but with the pleasing thoughts that in this moment there's life and food for future years. So the memory of his previous visit to this place, okay, has got dim, and is fainting. Now again he's filling his mind with with a lot of beautiful memories, okay, that of the time which is spending in the company of nature, which will help him, which will help him in future. For example, which will help him in restoring peace to his mind in future, because the entire landscape is fresh in his mind again, although he had forgotten, you know uh, forgotten a lot of memories which he had spent, in the company of nature on his previous visit. But again, if he has visited this place again and again, he is able to remember the beautiful experience which he has in the company of nature. Okay, and which will help him, in restoring peace to his mind, and to get motivation and inspiration from nature in future years. Okay, so I'll continue in the next slide. Thanks.